Why did you decide to run for U.S. Senate?
Was never on my radar. The straw that broke the camel's back was Senator Tillis's treatment of Pete Hegseth, who I've worked with in the past. The guy's a patriot. Tillis had promised that he would support Trump's nominees who came out of committee. Pete came out of the Armed Services Committee, and Tillis went after him anyway, still tried to torpedo the nomination. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and so here we are.
So you were planning to run no matter what, even if Tillis ran. Now it's an open seat. I mean, how does that change things?
When it became obvious that Senator Tillis was going to drop out of the race because he was going to lose, I'd been to many, many counties by that point and had seen the reaction on the ground. There was no question in my mind that was going to happen. I told the media, if Laura Trump came in the race, I would go to the beach. And you know, she did not get into the race, said, I'm not at the beach. And I think Michael is probably just another version of Tillis. He endorsed the guy. They've been thick as thieves, and I think we need a better alternative. And so here we are, and we're going to run it to the end.
So let's just address Michael Whatley first, because President Trump did endorse him. What do you make of that endorsement?
First off, General Mike Flynn endorsed me, the 24th National Security Advisor. General Jerry Boykin, Delta Force commander, endorsed our campaign. These guys are heroes. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, one of the most prominent conservatives in America, just endorsed our campaign, and Sidney Powell has endorsed our campaign. So we have some powerhouse endorsements. I'm a big fan of the president. I know that he will go against the grain. I don't think he had necessarily the best information in his ear when he made a decision to endorse. So we love him anyway, and we're going to give him a better option than he has even sort of halfway endorsed. So I'm looking forward to giving him a better option.
What do you think the big difference is between you and Whatley?
Well, I'm a military officer, and Whatley's a lobbyist. How does that sound? You want a lobbyist? Whatley's been a lobbyist. He's been in Washington, D.C. lobbying. He's been inside of Washington, D.C. almost his entire career, except for the time that he was the chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, and he's got more than half of the grassroots Republicans mad at him because in 2023 he got elected on the cell phone app. This is 3 years after the election debacle of 2020, when we are wanting to move toward paper ballots for more easy verification. He gets elected on a cell phone app. So you've got a Washington, D.C. insider versus a military officer and a constitutional lawyer who's been out battling already on issues that are important to North Carolina conservatives and to North Carolinians.
So Democrats have been hitting Whatley hard for his role in Western North Carolina. They call him the recovery czar. Do you think that they have some valid criticism for his role in Western North Carolina?
I would call it a lack of a role, because he hasn't really embraced a role. I can tell you Whatley is not liked at all in the 25 western counties. And Trump made him the hurricane recovery czar, and yet as my last numbers that I was looking at, we're still $64 billion short at least in helping Western North Carolina. And that's going to hurt him a lot. It shows a lack of effectiveness. Here's what should have happened in Western North Carolina. That $64 billion should be put into trust fund. And here's what I would do, and this is what I will advocate for in the Senate. I want 3 organizations overseeing it, 2 that are private charitable organizations. Take Franklin Graham and Samaritan's Purse. Take another charity like the one that my friend Adam Smith, who's running for Congress, oversaw. And a third group would be the counties, the western counties that are affected. Then decide where that money needs to go now. Cut out the bureaucratic rigmarole. Whatley hasn't had the vision to propose anything like that. But there are too many obstacles getting the money to people who still are homeless. And by the way, Eastern North Carolina is suffering also, even from Hurricane Matthew. I've been in Craven County. Some 5,000 North Carolinians haven't had their homes rebuilt because of Roy Cooper and his Rebuild NC scam. They put these scams up and they give 100,000 hoops you got to jump through. Whatley has been ineffective in cutting through the hoops, and it's going to cost him dearly in the western part of the state. In the primary, he won't make it to the general election, but it'll cost him in the primary. And by the grace of God, he made it to the general election, which is not going to happen because we're going to stop him. He's got a lot of work to do to make up for those folks.
Let's talk about CBP in Charlotte. How would you say Border Patrol's mission was in Charlotte?
Here's the thing to understand. Because the Democrats opened the borders and welcomed in every Tom, Dick, and Harry, we have had a fentanyl crisis, and that's just the start of the crisis that we've had. We've got it in Charlotte. We've had sex trafficking because Charlotte is at the intersection of 85 and 77, close to 20 and 26. It's one of the busiest airports in the country. We've got to get these people out of the country. It's a dangerous situation. We lost more people to fentanyl alone than in 10 years to the Vietnam War, Joe. That's how serious it's been. These are weapons of mass destruction, and while the president has indeed closed the border using the military, and that's got to be a permanent fix, by the way. I want to push for what I call United States Border Command, a new unified command in the military, so that the military has control of U.S. borders from here on in. That's got to go past President Trump's presidency. But we got to get these folks out.
Because it's in the news right now. Pete Hegseth, you're a big fan of Pete Hegseth. We got the double tap, that congressional probe might happen. What do you think that the double tap was appropriate?
Here's the deal. American presidents have been protecting American property and lives on the high seas since the beginning of the Republic. These boats are bringing drugs in the United States. They are bringing in weapons of mass destruction. Now, if that boat is still in the water, and the Wall Street Journal did an article on how sophisticated these speedboats are. They use GPS to track in the water. They drop the cargo off from one to the other. If that boat is still in the water, harboring those drugs, you blow it the hell out of the water. That's what you do. And if some terrorist is hanging on, that's too freaking bad, because they're actually trying to kill you and me and other Americans and other North Carolinians by bringing that crap into this country. So that's the way I feel about it. I hope that helps.
Everyone wants to address the debt, the national debt. It seems like it's always a talking point, and yet it keeps going up and up and up. Right. What's going on with that? I know it's just one of your top priorities. So what's the plan to address the national debt?
Well, first off, it has been a failure by both parties. And I was headed up to Asheville to speak one morning, and there's a website called usdebtclock.org. And you can go to that website, and you should, and you can watch the national debt exploding in real time. So I pulled my little cell phone out, set it for a minute, and then it goes beep, 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 beep. Look down 1 minute. You guess how much the debt had exploded in 1 minute? $2 million in 1 minute. That comes down to about $37,000 a second, over $2 billion a day under Republican leadership. Now, in fairness, it was $55,000 to $60,000 a second under Biden. But we got to do more than just cut it down to $37,000. We got to reverse it, because if we don't reverse it, we're going to lose the dollar.
How do you feel about Roy Cooper?
Well, let me just put it this way. The last time I saw my daddy alive, Joe, was looking through the outside of a nursing home in Plymouth, North Carolina, my hometown. Washington County is the poorest county in North Carolina. My sister and I were standing out there on a frozen patch of grass, looking through there at my daddy, waving at him because Roy Cooper was separating dying Americans from their family during COVID. He has been the most liberal and destructive governor in this state's history. And I'm going to chase him all over the state and remind him of what he did to the state when he shut businesses down unnecessarily. You know, there were some of us who were standing against this, Joe. If you ever see a picture of me wearing a mask, you'll know that it was doctored by artificial intelligence. Some of us could read the reports from Johns Hopkins and Harvard and UNC and other medical journals that masks do no good. And Fauci and the Republican Attorney General saying no mask on Monday, and then they do a 180 on Tuesday. He's locked this state down like a tyrant. He separated Americans, North Carolinians, from their dying elderly family members like he did with me, so it's personal with me.
Before we can get to Roy, though, you have to get through Michael Whatley and Elizabeth Temple and anyone else who files to run. So what is your pitch to Republican voters and unaffiliated voters to choose the GOP ballot on why they should put you against Cooper?
I want to fight to bring down the cost of living and to restore freedom. Cooper's answer is larger government. And really, Whatley hasn't given us any plan or vision other than to say Trump, 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 and that's fine. We love President Trump. But I'm the one who has the vision to help North Carolinians to restore freedom and to restore some economic sanity so we don't have to worry about the price of eggs when we go to the grocery store.